Did you know that Warhammer 40,000 has role-playing games? Well, you do now. And with its growing popularity, I figured it'd be nice to show newcomers as well as older fans some tips and tricks to running your own games. Hi there, I'm Lord Irbithon, and I'd like to introduce you, my dear viewer, to the grim dark world of the 42nd or 41st millennium and how to roleplay in it. In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war, and all is seemingly doom and gloom. Humanity's vast galactic empire is crumbling under its own weight, as enemies from within and without carve it apart in a death by 1,000 cuts. It has lasted for 10,000 years, but it's on borrowed time. Founded by a mysterious figure known only as the Emperor, the Imperium of Man is very much a shadow of its former self, as it is assaulted on all fronts. And while the Imperium is the point of view faction in the setting, it is by no means the good guy. Far from it, as it has committed many atrocities in the name of its Emperor and humanity as a whole, even to themselves. In fact, every faction in the setting has some dirty laundry or war crimes they've committed. For example, the Eldar, a once mighty but dying race of space elves, commit genocide in order to prevent or enable certain future paths predicted by their leaders. Or take the Tau Empire's spheres of conquest, where despite preaching a greater good, they mostly use it to seize resources and expand their own empire, while enabling a caste system where the ethereal caste rules and everyone else is stuck in their lane forever. And a game of tabletop role-playing with your friends not only lets you explore and experience the existential dread that is the grim darkness of the far future, but carve your own legend into this setting. It can also be darkly humorous and has tense and engaging combat encounters too. Since Warhammer 40,000 started off as a tabletop wargame, you'd think it would be difficult to adapt it into a 3 or 7-friend group RPG session. But fun fact, Rogue Trader, the first ever edition of Warhammer 40,000, had rules for running it as an RPG cause it had a game master. Since then, there have been a few different systems and sourcebooks for running Warhammer 40,000 RPGs. From Fantasy Flight's line, Wrath and Glory, to now Imperium Maledictum. These systems have 2 different dice sets that really set them apart. So with Fantasy Flight games and Maledictum, they use a D100 style system. It sounds complicated, and at times it is, I do admit, but can be very fun once you get the ropes down. Class rolls tend to be rigid, but can still vary due to choices when buying upgrades with experience. It may even be possible to homebrew in some systems if you really want to. Wrath and Glory, on the other hand, plays a lot more like Shadowrun, involving pools of d6 dice. It is also malleable due to the simplicity, and while stuck in strict character roles through a tier system, you can still adjust your character to use a variety of different skills. It's possible to build a stealth-heavy orc boy or space marine while at the same time making a guardsman with certain melee traits a powerful berserker if they manage to survive long enough. There are lots of options for both, including vehicle rules and even space combat in some settings, so you can take your time building a campaign suited to your players as a game master, or coming up with creative player characters as the player. Unfortunately, there are still no rules for the Leagues of Votann characters outside of Homebrew, so you're probably going to have to search around or use Homebrew to play as a Space Dwarf. Or use Rogue Trader, not the tabletop role-playing game Rogue Trader, the original one. Still nice, though. And that is a brief introduction into the setting and systems. You can find them at your local game store, or more likely online in PDF or hard copy form on a storefront. Tune in next time as we dig into the setting a little further with a brief history of the Imperium of Man and how it lends itself to TTRPGs, because that's where we gotta start with this setting. I hope you enjoyed this introduction to the role-playing games of Warhammer 40,000. Take care and persist onward, my fellow strugglers, for there is a light at the end of the tunnel for you. Just not in Warhammer 40,000.